Hi, Casey. Thanks for doing this. What's it like being back in this build?
Bit surreal, if I'm honest. It's a full circle moment for me. 10 years exactly, obviously, since we were previously here. But like very different in terms of like being the head coach of the national team here and the privilege that comes with it. So I'm just excited.
What are you looking for from your group over these 2 games here?
I think to continue to grow and show progress in the things we've been working on. We know that we're going to continue to, have areas where we need to improve, and what I want to try and do is remove like the fear of making mistakes and the fear of giving the ball away, because if we want to score more goals, we need to take more risks and we need to be more creative. So that's a piece I want to see people try, and have a go at what we're trying to do, knowing that we're going to fail sometimes, and that's okay. We've got a whole year now to try and develop a playing style, identity and philosophy that suits the players and obviously gives us the best chance to be successful.
And Casey, you took over a core of the team that's been through a lot off the field the last couple of years. And talking to them, they said it feels lighter, that they can just play now. How aware of that are you, and to make that, just the atmosphere around the team just more joyful than what they've had doing?
Yeah, I think there's kind of 2 elements to it, really. I think being aware of it, like obviously I was managing Caelan Sheridan like around the time and was very aware of like what happened and I think the brunt that the staff and players took for that and how much they were questioned and their integrity but what I saw was a hell of a resilient group and what they were able to do in such difficult circumstances and pull together. But that's left some scars, and I won't shy away from that. So if it's my duty as a leader to support them, protect them, try and build trust again in leadership, try and make sure that they're in an environment where they feel psychologically safe. And also I played for my country for 18 years, so I know what it takes. I also know that it's the absolute pinnacle of your career and it should be somewhere that you love coming to and that you want to come to and where you can thrive and be the best version of you. We've got some seriously special talent, like show it, have the freedom to show it, and let's get players on the ball doing the things that they love, and let's make it an environment that they can be proud of.
And just secondly, both of the people I talked to said you want them to play bravely or play with courage. What do you mean by that, and why do you think that's the way they should?
I think they've been defensively very organised for so long, and obviously don't give up many goals. In my opinion, they've got the best goalkeeper in the world. We've got a fantastic goalkeeping unit, so I'm really privileged in that sense. So I know that we can keep clean sheets. I know that we can defend. To score goals, we've got to be brave. We've got to use possession. We've got to play forward. We've got to get people higher numbers against the opposition's back line. And then we've got to be really good at counter-pressing because we're going to have less numbers under the ball. So being brave is about, playing with a purpose, individual and collective skill. And I've said to them today, don't fear playing forward and giving the ball away. Like we want to play forward. We want to get our attacking players on the ball. And if I give it away playing forward, I'm underneath it anyway to defend and counter press. So, it's about us imprinting our style into the game rather than focusing on the opponent a lot and what they bring. What do we bring? What's our strengths? What are we going to do to win games? So I've shifted the focus back onto us a lot more.
Casey, we've really seen Mimi playing brave and showing her talent and thriving. What else have you seen from her? Because she wasn't always called up and given an opportunity, and she's really showing what she can do with you at that one.
She's technically very good. So if we want to keep the ball, we want to play forward, we want to be creative, we need players that can play like that, and I think Mimi is definitely one of those. I love the fact that she clearly loves the game. She plays with a smile on her face. She's good in the pocket. She can play wide. She can come inside. We just need to be able to set the team up to get her in positions to be successful. So, yeah, I've been really impressed with what I've seen from her, and I'm going to continue to keep giving her experience because I think in a couple of years' time she's going to be crucial for us.
There's a few players that are injured, they're not able to play. We've seen a lot of younger players called up. What have you seen from them, and how important is it for them to seize the opportunity that they have?
Yeah, I think obviously it's disappointing when you lose players. Like, I was walking out my house with my suitcase on Saturday morning when I got the messages about 3 players, and I was like, okay. There's a moment of like, okay, what we're going to do, and then there's a moment of like, brilliant opportunity for someone else. So it just enables us to look at a deeper pool of players, and also widen the pool. We need to widen the pool. We need to look at other players. You know, the pool here isn't that big. It really isn't. So we need to widen it. We need to bring in the younger players. It also shows down the pathway that we're looking, we're observing, we're going to give you a chance if it's the right time. And I tell you what, I've been really impressed. Like, in terms of them coming in and just integrating within the group. We have got a great group for that. Like, they're very welcoming and they will look after the young players. But they've come in and they've showed, I think, a real good level in terms of coming into training. So it's not an easy step up. It's a massive step up. And it hasn't looked a big step up for them, so that's a compliment to them.
Casey, you're playing an emerging country here in Argentina over 2 games, and I was curious to know, in the process of building and preparing for the next Women's World Cup in Brazil in 2027, of the thought and the strategy of you and your coaching staff, and maybe even the players as well, as to the type of opponents that you want to be playing sort of between now and that tournament, and how you could speak to how important playing a team like this, that's probably going to be at the Women's World Cup, and as I say, emerging side, is in part of your preparations.
I think it's important we play top 6 to 8 in the world, but it's also important to play teams that are going to be at the World Cup that play differently, you know, in terms of physical nature, how they set up, playing against low blocks, playing against teams that press you. So we're going to need lots of different challenges before we get to the World Cup to know, A, where we are, what work we need to do, and also make sure we've got the solutions before we get there. So playing Argentina is a good one for us. They're very physical. We know that. They're going to be very organised. They might be hard to break down, but they're also good on the counter-attack. So if we're going to be a possession team, we're going to have to make sure that we're good on transitions. This gives us an opportunity to have a go at that. And it's great to be back here in Canada and be able to play that game.
And touching on those points, the fact that you probably, if you qualify for the World Cup, you'll end up getting a very diverse group. African opponents, all those sort of things, are all those part of the strategy? And the other thing too, if the opportunity presents itself, getting an opportunity to go down and playing in South America before the tournament, would that be something that you'd be looking to try and do as well? Yeah,
I think as an organisation we're exploring everything. I'm probably 8 or 9 weeks in now, so I'm still working with like what's already in place. What's in place for next year, what can we put in place for next year. And you're right, playing different styles, different philosophies, different cultures. Obviously, potentially going and playing where the World Cup will be is a good opportunity for us. It's something that we're looking at, but it's not something that's been committed to yet.
Pass it to Michael.
Casey, you touched on there, you've not been in the job long, but how have you enjoyed it? How have you found it so far? And has it been a bit of an interesting transition for you from day to day running with the players to now just having them every couple of weeks or months?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a steep learning curve in terms of, for me, obviously I was involved as a player for a long time, but understanding the organisation, understanding the landscape of Canadian soccer, understanding the backgrounds of the players and where they've come from, and understanding how we can support the players even when they're not in camp. You know, making sure that we've always got that support system in place, making sure that, you know, we're going and seeing games, we're viewing games, we're making sure that we're keeping track of performances and form, how we can help players when they're in a club environment. Because no matter whether you're in a club or in an international team, you're still a developer, you're a coach. So how you help them players be the best version of themselves on and off camp is important, whilst not interfering with club, but building really good relationships with clubs so that you have a player-centred approach every time they're in.
Kind of following on from that, then I was going to ask, after this window, what your next couple of weeks look like. Obviously the NSL is getting underway. Are you just going to be getting out?
I'll be back here.
As many games as possible?
Yeah, I'm going to get around to as many games as I can. Obviously, we've got players that I need to view. I want to make sure, again, I'm talking about widening the pool. So, you know, watching players is important. Seeing our players, supporting the league is really important to me. And then obviously looking ahead to prep for the next camp. So it kind of doesn't stop. I thought it would be different in terms of rhythm. I'm all or nothing anyway, so constantly looking at opponents, constantly looking at our players and looking at how we can improve everything from resources and infrastructure to make sure we put everything in place for the players to be successful.
Casey, the timing of this match works perfectly for that exactly of the NSL and the opening matchup that's going to happen here in BC Place. How nice is it to have the city really be excited for women's soccer in this period and be able to be welcomed home to it and knowing what's to come?
Well, I think this place has had some incredible memories, and there's been so many memorable moments come here and fans turn up. And that's what I've seen in the past, So hopefully tomorrow night the fans can turn up again and make it, a really good atmosphere in here. And hopefully we can put on a performance that fans are proud of.
And looking to the opponent itself in Argentina, we've seen that, and you yourself have seen against Central American and South American opponents, the game can get very gritty, can get very physical, and mind games can be played. Have you prepared the team to be able to deal with that kind of mental battle as well as the physical and technical battles?
Absolutely. It'd be naive not to. We know that the game might get broken up. They'll try and slow the game down. It's going to be physical. We need to match the physicality, and that's really important that we don't shy away from that. But then we need to play our game. We need to play quick. We need to get the ball back in play quick. We need to not get frustrated, and we just need to focus on what we're good at and control the controllables.
I want to pick up on a couple of things you said there. Talking about the NSL and winding the pool, how big is it? How important is it for this league to be starting up in Canada?
Massive. I was part of the FAWSL when it started in England back in 2011, and that was set up to support the national team. 10 years later, no coincidence, they win the Euros. So I know how important it is. I know that having a league in your home country is really important, building the communities around those teams, including the fan base, making sure that we're giving young players a platform to be able to play and come through the system and pathway and not have to go somewhere else. I think that's so important for this game moving forward.
The other thing I want to pick up on is it is your first game on Canadian soil. Do you think about that?
Yeah, I remember when I took the job, I was like, I've obviously been in the club game for a long time. I'm kind of used to representing the country anyway. But being a head coach, I think is a huge privilege. And being a head coach of this team, especially, I'm really proud. They're good people. They're great players. And I think together, collectively, if we can go in the right direction, put the right things in place and get it right tactically, technically, and we have the right fit and available players at the right times, maybe we could do something special.
Hi, Casey. I
Hi.
was wondering, the girls are always laughing on the field and even in training, and I was wondering, how do you encourage them to keep a positive mindset despite the pressure that they?
I think I spoke to him the other day. I was like, why did you pick up a ball as a child? Picked it up because you love the game. That should never change. Whether you're 5, 6, 7, or you're now a professional player, yes, it's your job. Yes, there's pressure. It's my job to kind of take that pressure off a little bit, but ramp the standards up. We have to perform. It's a high performance environment. It's an elite environment. It's international football. We want to win. So yes, all of those things are there, but let's have fun doing it, And I think creating a bit more fun, removing fear, hopefully, I think fear stifles creativity. So if we can remove that, we might have more creativity in our play. We'll score more goals. We'll have more fun. Easier said than done, but we're going to have a go.
Last question from the floor.
Casey, it's a very kind of general question, but the women's game has gone through quite a remarkable kind of evolution. You almost sort of see it every 4 years with every Women's World Cup. What would be the first sort of things that come to your mind in terms of where it has evolved to now and how it will end up reflecting itself in the next Women's World Cup in 2027? I know it's a large question.
It is a large. I played in my first major tournament back in 2005 and China in 2007, so I've seen a lot of growth during that time. Even from, I think the growth from 2019 to now has been exponential. I think you look at the transfer windows and the money that's going into the game now, and obviously I had a player that I coached for a long time that went for 1.1 million. So I think it's making sure that the money is spent in the right areas. we still need to resource these players. We still need to look after them medically, physically, emotionally. We need to make sure they've got good training facilities, that they've got everything in place for them to be successful, So where will it be in 2027? I think it's going to continue to get better. The speed's going to continue to increase. The players are going to get better. I think there's going to be more eyes on it than ever, which is great. You look at the crowds that are worldwide now. The game is globally growing. And I think with the NSL now starting up here, we're going to see this game grow in this country as well.
Thank you. We have one more question coming from Zoom. JJ, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, JJ from the Sun here.
Hi.
You had mentioned the fans, and this isn't something you are beholden to or really need to be concerned about as a national team coach versus a club coach. But we've seen some big numbers in attendance for women's games here in the past. This game doesn't look like it's going to meet that threshold. I was just wondering what your thoughts might be regarding that. Is it a lack of star power? There's name recognition, but I don't know if necessarily we have those stars like Christine anymore to help boost those numbers.
I think it's timing. It's timing. It's a Friday night. It's spring break. There's 2 games here already, so I think it's a timing piece, to be honest. So I'm not concerned. I don't think we need to be concerned about it. I think it's one of those moments where the crowd isn't going to be what we would like it to be. But I think if we can put on a show and we continue to be here more often, we haven't had a lot of presence in Canada over the last year. That doesn't help. So I think the more presence we can have here, we can showcase the team and we get people to fall back in love with it. I think we'll grow that fan base again.
Awesome. That will be it for today. Thank you, Coach. Good luck tomorrow. Merci à tous.